April reading wrap up. First, let's get this out of the way. Some new news in the collection. Right, we have Miss Tori and Miss Coco. Okay? I think this one's a very pretty purple. And this one's a nice brown color. Okay, moving on into the books. In April, I read about 7 to 8 books, I believe. Let's check Storygraph because I will forget. Yeah, just about 7 or 8 books. Let's start off with my favorites. I read The Ordeal of Unknowing by Malia Rose. We follow a Palestinian main character who is an artist and a basketball player who is mute. I absolutely adored the writing of this. I thought it was very humorous and cute. Why it's called a sports romance? Not necessarily sure. We barely mentioned sports. And the team that he plays for, most sports romances, the team's mainly fake. In this one, it's real. The author chose the LA Lakers, which did make me chuckle a bit because I was like, okay. Both of these characters work through heavy trauma. For the female main character, it's working through the trauma of having an abusive mother. The male main character went through a traumatic experience, leaving him mute. We do have mentions of a school shooting in this book. Our main character, Layla, is Palestinian. On her father's side, we do get brief mentions of her family and that dynamic and what it was like growing up. The author relates a lot of her experience. The author, also being Palestinian, relates a lot of her experiences within this book, and a lot of her experiences with the mother are based on real life experiences. Layla moves out and escapes that situation, has a lovely friend group, meets Jess, and they get to know each other and fall in love, and it was really cute. It was a very cute short read. It was good when the tabs come out. I only tabbed 2 things that stuck with me, but I tabbed it, and I rarely tab books. But I really enjoyed this one. I highly recommend it. Next, one of my favorite reads is I read the Midnight Heats series by Talia Hibbert. Read all of these books. I feel like a lot of people have read The Princess Trap, and if you don't know what The Princess Trap is about, it's a basic, prince meets non-royal girl and they fall in love, and he is obsessed with her, as he should be. But my favorite out of these 3 was The Roommate Risk. I love a friends to lovers, a lot of angst and built up over the years because he is obsessed with her, finds her very attractive, but then it's just we're just gonna stay friends. I'm fine with that. No, he's not. Absolutely not. And then they form a friends with benefits relationship. This main character, also like the main character in The Ordeal of Being Unknown, or The Ordeal of Being Known, sorry. This main character, similar to the character in The Ordeal of Being Known, having a very strained relationship between the mother, causing them to feel like they cannot be loved or they're a hard person to love. Meanwhile, you have Pretty Boy over here that's like, I love you, I do. We get a dual POV and a bit of past and present of them when they first met in college to them now. It's also a close proximity. She's staying at his place while her place is getting fixed up. And I'm obsessed with Raul. He's my favorite type of male protagonist when they're just quiet. They're intellectual and quiet. That's it. Intellectual, quiet, in tune with their emotions. That's it. He's perfect. He's the perfect man. He is the perfect man. As I said, I read The Princess Trap. I did find it really cute. Y'all love this book, so no surprise there. Follow Cherry and Prince Ruben, and they end up in this fake engagement ordeal. Strangers to lovers, very cute. This one is also another fake relationship, and I didn't like this one as much because the chapters too long. That's how Talia Hibbert gets me. She writes chapters that are way too long. I'm like, this could have been 2. This could have been 2. We didn't need to, and it just kept going. Soccer player meets this girl, asks her, hey, you want to be my fake girlfriend while I go on my friend trip so then other girls will stop harassing me while I'm there? And she's like, stay in a nice rich house, stay in a nice house. And she's like, oh, go on vacation, stay in a nice fancy house with the ex-professional soccer player? Don't mind if I do. And they're very attracted to each other. obviously. And yeah, just the only complaint, chapters way too long. Chapters were way too long. Got into this new author, Alana Fraser, Red Hop Skipping a Wedding. This one is a best friends, two lovers, where one of the best friends is in a arranged marriage that she does not want to be in with a horrible man, and best friends just sitting there just watching. This main character also having a very abusive, controlling relationship with her parents, putting her in this arranged marriage. Highly inappropriate. It was short. It was sweet. They live happily ever after. This book is an enemies to lovers. This is Solar Eclipse of the Heart, also by Alana Fraser. The two series are intertwined. I did not get back into it just because the male main character was just that irritating to me. Like, he's just so off rip irritating. Like, I hate that. I hate when I read a book and one of the characters, like, I hate them so much with a passion. Like, I don't have the energy to spend this much to find the breaking point where they stop being an a-hole. So, yeah. It follows Cam and Leon. Leon moves into the same apartment and he goes to the same university, and he just starts being just a complete a-hole to everybody in his vicinity, even Cam. And I don't have the energy to read that right now. I don't like enemies to lovers. You know this. If you didn't, now you do. So, I feel like in this book we are going to go over a lot of like the characters' individual traumas. But honestly, like, I just can't get over how much the male main character irritates me, and we're not even in his POV yet. Or did we get into his POV? Let me check. Because I don't remember if we got into his POV or not. But, it's like, if he had spoken to me the way he speaks to her, I would have beat the brakes off of him. I'm not even joking. Kamaria lives a very affluent life. They live in their uncle's, like, apartment complex. Like, her and her siblings, they all have their own apartment in this apartment complex. And one of her siblings, like, oh, my friend that I met in Europe when I was on this trip or whatever, he's coming to go to our school, and he's gonna come stay with us here. And the second he has an interaction with the female main character, he's the rudest person you've ever seen in your entire life. And I just can't. I don't want it. I don't want to keep reading. I don't want it. Oh, I also read this biker romance book, which I didn't even plan this, but the reading blog that I did prior had a lot of like sign language, deaf, hard of hearing representation in it, and I didn't even know that was gonna be like the theme throughout all that entire reading blog. But that was like a nice surprise. Ink is a prequel to the entire series, where he is also in this motorcycle gang, but is also a tattoo artist. Hires on a new employee, and she is bloodthirsty and crazy. Okay, she is so, she can handle her own. Let's just say that. Anyway, they fall in love. Meanwhile, for the rest of the series, the next book is called Miguel. Miguel finds out that he has a son. That son is hard of hearing, and now has to not only become a father, but also adapt to this new change in his life, learning how to sign, how to communicate with his kid, getting his kid a hearing aid, and all these things. Just really stepping up into that father role. He puts his child into kindergarten, meets the teacher. He is obsessed with her. He falls for his child's kindergarten teacher named Lorena. Lorena also has a roommate who is deaf, and is also recognizing that this new student in our class is deaf, and Miguel and Lorena come together to really take care of this child. And while Miguel is coming into this new dynamic of being a father, while also having this very dangerous, profession, Lorena is on the complete opposite side, where she comes from a very where her world is very prison proper, so wanting to be in a relationship with a man like Miguel, she's starting to come to terms with that, and if that's what she wants with her life. I went through these really quickly, but just to sum it up, my favorite reads from last month was The Roommate Risk and The Ordeal of Being Known. Like, those two are definitely going on the list for favorite reads for 2024. And I already have my TBR for May stacked up. It was between, because it is AAPI month and I have not read either of these series and I'm trying to get back into fantasy, it just felt like perfect timing. I put on a poll on my Instagram whether I should read the Poppy War trilogy or the Greenbone Saga, because those are two fantasy books that I always hear about, but I just have not had the time to read, and now I'm taking the time to read them. And Instagram voted on the Poppy War, so we are going to be starting the Poppy War for the next reading vlog, and I'm so scared. I feel like I'm gonna be emotionally drained. Like, I don't think I'm emotionally ready to read those books. Because either way, I'm picking pain. So, but yeah, I'm not ready. But that was what I read in April, and I'll see you next time. Bye!